Hey everyone, this is The Villain's the Man. I'm Justin, bringing you another movie review over Marvel's Doctor Strange. Once again, the company has created another gem for their cinematic universe. They give fans of the character and moviegoers alike an intriguing and unique origin that introduces the world of magic to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is something that's slightly been seen with Loki in the Thor movies and The Hand and Daredevil, but it's never been really explored to this extent. The action in the movie is completely fresh and something unlike you've never seen before. The comedy Marvel's known for comes from an unexpected source, and towards the end of the movie they give you a shocking death that wraps it up really nicely. Overall, I thought this movie's great. There's nothing really bad you can say about it. As always, Marvel's casting is great. Ever since Ant-Man, I've really learned not to ever judge Marvel on who they cast. Everyone from Benedict Cumberbatch playing Doctor Strange to, oddly enough, Benedict Wong playing Wong. I don't know if that was a coincidence on Marvel's behalf or not. Did really well. I know a lot of fans had a problem with Tilda Swinton playing the Ancient One because the Ancient One's Asian and the Ancient One is male. That's brought up a lot of people showing outrage towards Marvel over diversity issues. After this, you've seen this a lot with Iron Fist, with people wanting Danny Rand to be Asian, and as I've been saying, let's not do diversity for diversity's sake. As a fan of comics and movies in general, if you're going to bring diversity, bring new characters. DC's starting to do that since their Rebirth stuff, and I'm fine with it to a degree, but not to the fact that it changes main characters. For instance, Baron Mordo being black, he's not main character. It's not a lot of gripe you're going to get from fans, and I'm perfectly fine with them doing that. But overall, great casting for the movie. Can't complain about it at all. The story and the plot of the movie are really good. They really remind me of the first Iron Man movie. You've got a brilliant and egotistical man who has tragedy happen to him, who completely changes his life around for the better of the world. As for the character Stephen Strange, they really stick to the core of the character and for what he's known for, which is protecting the Earth from mystical forces, extra-dimensional beings, and threats that are much bigger than himself. You get a taste of that at the end where he does the time loop with Dormammu. Throughout the movie, you see the Wand of Watum, which is spoken of, and also the Staff of the Living Tribunal, which are two omnipotent characters in the Marvel Universe. Maybe during Infinity War we'll get to see more of those characters. Now, the action in the movie is a really good selling point. I, for one, cannot stop talking about how unbelievable it is. From the fighting in the mirror dimension, how they shift the buildings in the room around them, it gives you a kind of a sense of the Matrix, but on a more epic level with the jumping around, and then you've got these spell weapons that they're creating going off. And then it gets even better in the final battle where Strange uses the Eye of Agamotto to reverse the damage that has been done to an area of a Chinese town, which I think is Hong Kong. And as the damage is going in reverse, repairing itself, they are battling in real time. So as their battle is moving forward, time is going backwards. And it's a really interesting fight. You've never really seen anything like this on film, and I really doubt that you will probably ever see anything like this in a movie again. Now, in the Marvel Universe, Doctor Strange is an immensely powerful character, and the film does a great job of not giving him that power. You don't see any crimson bands of Sidorak being cast, no images of a Khan. But in his time learning magic, they use his brilliance at surgery and his willingness to learn and adapt, and they apply that to him learning magic. And a lot of people thought that he learned magic way too quickly, but my guess is they didn't catch on that when he's sleeping, he's using his astral projection to study magic, which I thought was a really neat way to speed the character up for his final battle with Calisius, and to forward the movie on to the meeting with Dormammu at the end. Now, speaking of the villain, fans and moviegoers alike think that Marvel has an issue with villains being bland and boring, that the characters have no substance to them. Well, I find this half true, and I find that this doesn't apply to this movie, as Caecilius is nothing more than a henchman that leads you to the real villain, which is Dormammu at the end of the movie. Who I was really excited about until the end, until I seen him, which, if you know the character Dormammu, it's basically, you know, a body covered in wicked armor with a flaming head. And you kind of didn't get that. You got this humanoid looking being that's not menacing at all. The movie does well in leading you to believe that Dormammu is as powerful, which points to one thing Doctor Strange is known for. In the classic stories, battling beings like this that are omnipotent and out of his league, he's known for tricking or trapping the characters, which he does with the Eye of Agamotto. He traps Dormammu in a time loop, which literally drives him to the point of being agitated, and they strike a deal not to basically attack the Earth anymore. I love this. I thought this was great, and that's what the character is known for. And I hope in the future, in sequels, we'll get to see more of this, especially Infinity War. And pointing toward Dormammu and Caecilius not being the main villain, Caecilius and the rest of the Zealots turn into other henchmen of Dormammu, which are mindless ones, which eventually I think we'll see more of throughout sequels. Now, through the MCU, we've been getting artifacts, which become the Infinity Stones, and we all know where that's going to lead to. In the movie, you get a good introduction of where such items come from, and you get an explanation that some are more powerful than others. As mentioned before, you get to see the Wand of Watum and the Staff of the Living Tribunal, but you really don't get to see a good glimpse of their powers. Now, the movie introduces two staples in Doctor Strange's repertoire of artifacts. The first is the Cloak of Levitation. It's a less powerful item. This is what usually allows him to hover in the air and fly. But they use it in a really unexpected way. Comedy. Throughout the movie, I was waiting for this. As I said earlier, Marvel is really known for adding comedy into their films. And this come at a very unexpected time when you really thought, you know, Doctor Strange was going to lose, and it actually saves his life in a very comedic manner. And even when he's trying to be serious and dramatic as the film approaches its final act, the cloak wipes tears from his eyes, and you can't help but laugh about it. The second artifact, and to me the main attraction of the movie, is the Eye of Agamotto. Now, I've been saying this on our Facebook page, that the time gem would show up in this movie. In recent years, when the Illuminati and the Marvel Comics had the gem, Strange had the time gem. And it was a perfect movie to actually introduce this into. If you don't believe that I've been saying it, you can ask Seven the Great on our page. As soon as Doctor Strange started to use it on the apple, I was stupid excited, and it kept like, I told you, look, that's the time gem, that's the time gem. And at the end of the movie, he was like, hey, you're right. Now, in the finale of the movie, we get to see exactly how powerful this artifact and this gem are. In my opinion, the time gem is the most powerful of the 6 Infinity Stones, and you really get to see this, as I mentioned before, when he's fighting Caecilius and the rest of the Zealots, and he's, you know, reversing time during their battle. Now, after seeing this, all I can think about is now he is the most powerful character in the Marvel Universe, and, you know, why is there going to be any other threats needed when something happens? He can just reverse time. But in the end, he winds up putting the Eye of Agamotto back where it belongs, which was a relief, because in a sense, if he had that, there's no point of even having any more of these movies. Now, what I'm hoping to see once this Infinity War starts is he, with the time gem, gets to battle Thanos with the remaining 5 Infinity Stones. With that, I think you can add in Scarlet Witch, who has shown during Civil War that she can manipulate the mind gem, which was embedded in Vision's head. And I think with that, Marvel could have a very immensely powerful battle on screen that would rival the action you've seen in this movie. Now, speaking of the Mad Titan, I feel that Marvel missed the perfect opportunity with the Doctor Strange end credit scenes to introduce him coming for the gems. You just probably introduced the most powerful gem to the cinematic universe, and you figured beings even more powerful than Thanos would sense this. Now, I'm not referring to the first scene, which was a great surprise, completely unexpected. It sets up for Ragnarok, and it makes a lot of sense that Doctor Strange would be involved with that, considering Loki is a powerful mystical character and knows the magics just like he does. I thought that was great and really set up those Thor movies, who seem to be the least of the Marvel franchises. Now, also, I don't want to discredit the second scene, which is important for sequels, which deals with Mordo becoming the villain as he steals the magic from Jonathan Pangborn that allows him to walk. Now, if you read comics, Baron Mordo is literally the arch nemesis of Doctor Strange. But to me, the question is he really the villain at the end of this movie, in this scene? Because he's only doing what he thinks right. And to me, what I've always said is, in the eyes of the villain, if you could look through them, they're never really wrong. It's very rare that a villain, per se, the Joker is evil just for the sake of being evil and does his chaotic things just for the sake of. But, I mean, if you think about it, with the Ancient One, he's learned this magic. He's been taught to protect it, to abide by the laws of nature of magic. And throughout this film, he's seen Calisius, basically turn his back on the Ancient One and steal magics. He keeps seeing Doctor Strange break the laws of magic, and then he finds out the entire time the one person he looked up to the most, the Ancient One, has been breaking the laws the entire time. So is he really the villain through all this? I mean, to me, I see that he is just doing in his mind what he thinks is right, and is limiting the number of sorcerers who can do this. So that's a question you should actually ask yourself. Is he really the villain? But I really thought this is where Marvel should have introduced Thanos once again to the cinematic universe. We're all waiting for Infinity War. Fans of Marvel are waiting for him to form the Infinity Gauntlet, and I really thought this is where this was going to happen. Was I let down? No, because this was really needed to set up the sequel. But I'm pretty sure all fans really wanted that at the end of the movie. Now, since this movie's come out, there's a question that's kind of been bugging me. Now, back in Captain America Winter Soldier, the heroes capture Jasper Sitwell and start interrogating over Zola's algorithm. Now, he states the algorithm predicts people's futures based on their past. Goes on to explain it goes by bank statements, SAT scores, stuff like that, everyday stuff. Now, in a way that kind of doesn't make sense, but he names drops Bruce Banner and Stephen Strange, and we have not had the Doctor Strange movie at this time. Now, with Bruce Banner, that kind of makes sense, because if you look at his schooling, dealing with gamma radiation, trying to build a bomb, you could predict how his future could turn out into being the Hulk. Now, with Stephen Strange, that doesn't make sense, because he's a neurosurgeon. All of this stuff is based on doctor stuff. So, how could you predict that he would be in a wreck and he would go travel the world in search of the Ancient One and become Doctor Strange? My theory for this is based on Captain America, the First Avenger. At the end of the movie, when Cap battles Red Skull, the Tesseract, which we later find out is a space gem, we assume disintegrates Red Skull. Being the space gem, I think that it opens a wormhole to the current timeline. And as the Red Skull is sucked into this wormhole, he sees possibilities of what the future could be after World War II, and through all these multiple timelines and what could be, maybe he sees Doctor Strange altering the past with the Eye of Agamotto, which we now know is the Time Gem. It's knowing Marvel Comics, something like that could really happen, but I don't know if the Russos even thought about that, or even if that thing was planned after Doctor Strange came out. It's a really interesting question. Why would they target Doctor Strange, or should I say Stephen Strange, when he hasn't even became Doctor Strange and it's based on his past? Surely they wouldn't target him because he's this brilliant surgeon. So there's something there that doesn't sit right. That's a question that needs answers, and hopefully soon we'll get those. But this wraps up my thoughts and my review for Marvel's Doctor Strange, Where the Villain's the Man. I'm Justin. Follow us on Facebook. Send us some tweets on Twitter. Send me your ideas on why you think Hydra would target Stephen Strange before he's Doctor Strange. Take it easy, guys.